If you say otherwise, you are just flat out wrong.
I did wrong.
Wrong. This is, without a doubt, the best One Piece movie ever. Ever. Out of all the movies. Considering how Oda was the executive producer, and according to Toei, the One Piece movie that Oda actively participated the most in making. It makes a lot of sense because this movie is so damn good. It is better than Strong World. It is better than even Film Z, Film Gold, of course it is. And of course, better than Stampede. Stampede's a good movie. It's a fun, action-packed adventure. No, this one is better than even Stampede. Currently, this movie, Film Red, is the 9th or 8th, I should say, top grossing film in Japanese history. And it's only going to get higher. I believe it's going to pass at some point relatively soon Howl's Moving Castle. I think so. If not already has. So the whole point here is that this movie is the shiznit. And
Get some help.
This movie is really damn good. And I've seen the movie 3 times. Currently, I've seen the movie 1 time dub, 2 times sub. And the director, Goro Taniguchi, did a great job. Him and his team did a fantastic job in actually creating this film. Of course, the movie is a musical, so a lot of these musical numbers slap. They absolutely do. Adu gets 2 chubby thumbs up from your boy. It is what it is. And the dub was actually pretty good too. I was surprised to hear Bartolomeo's voice the first time the dub. Bartolomeo's voice, him being like some sort of old school 1980s mobster voice, that kind of threw me off guard for Bartolomeo. But that being said, it was still funny nonetheless. So for some non-spoiler stuff real quick, in a general sense, the movie was very well animated. And I thought for the most part, it was a great combination of both the 2D and the 3D aspects when it comes to animation. And there is a large cast of characters for voice acting that do also a very good job as well, both dub and sub. A lot of these awesome character appearances that your boy absolutely, especially Katakuri, oh my, yeah, woo, man. A lot of character appearances that I absolutely appreciated, tremendously so. The lore bits were on point. Yo. And going into this, I did not expect that the character components of this movie would be so strong. But they were strong. Very strong for a host of characters across the spectrum. And of course, the fights were everywhere. They were everywhere. So now I'm gonna go into full-on spoiler mode. If you haven't seen the movie yet, leave. It is in your best interest to skedaddle, okay? Watch the movie on your own free time, wherever you can. Whether it's preferably legally. If you can't do it legally for whatever reason, then Captain Jack Sparrow it. But in the future, hopefully, when it comes out on Blu-ray, you can buy that and watch the hell out of it and support Film Red in any capacity. If you need to, hey, buy a Shanks Bear. That's right. Oh, buy a Shanks Bear and support the film. Now, I want to get into some of the major bits as to why this movie is the #1 movie in One Piece history. But I can't go too deep. The reason why, of course, is that your boy is trying to make videos not so long anymore. I'm gonna try and keep things relatively around 15 minutes minus.
Stop the cap.
But knowing me, 20 plus is easy. But again, for the most part, I'm gonna try and aim for more reasonable time frames for video lengths. So, because I'm doing it for you people.
What do you mean, you people?
So show some support with a thumbs up, with a subscription, and you can click on that bell to join the notification squad if that bell is not broken and it still works. So let's get into the actual spoiler bits for this movie. Why is this movie the best One Piece film, the numero uno? First things first, so I don't think that Uta is the #1 antagonist of a One Piece film. That I think would belong to Zephyr in Film Z. However, she is number 2 of all the antagonists of all One Piece films so far in my book. So she is better than the Golden Lion Shiki. She is better than like Gasparde from the 4th One Piece movie, Dead End Adventure. She's better than Gil Tesoro. Of course she is. And she's even better than Douglas Bullet from the last movie, Stampede. Shiki is absolutely one of my faves for damn sure. Funny as hell, dope ass abilities, and the dude does have depth to him, but for the most part, it's like Roger obsessed stuff. Uta, I think, has more depth for sure than the Golden Lion Shiki. And the same thing goes for Douglas Bullet. He's basically, I want to be the strongest. I am the strongest. I am the strongest. Like, okay, cool. That's dope. The depth, it's not really there. And while Shiki and Douglas Bullet did have like grandiose plans, Uta at one point had like 70% of the total world's population at risk of being trapped in the Sing Sing world. That is a very impressive threat scale for an antagonist of a One Piece film. The last one we saw that was of that same caliber was Zephyr, where Zephyr had these destruction endpoints in Film Z and was going to blow them up with these things called Dynastones. The Grand Line / New World is at risk of being destroyed by Zephyr. So yeah, that's a pretty big threat scale. So Uta absolutely was threatening. Yeah, it's musical, sing-along, Frozen, Lion King stuff. But at the same time, Lion King's amazing. That's never gonna change. At least the first one, not the CG. No, I don't want to see that nonsense. And of course, Frozen is like legendary. I haven't seen myself personally, but apparently it's legendary. Like, to be quite frank, going into the movie, I did not think that Uta would be the main antagonist. I thought for damn sure it was gonna be like Gordon or like one of the pirate guys. Like, they'd be the main antagonist. No, Uta is the prima antagonist. So then going into the movie and seeing that for the first time was a big surprise for me personally. But then what solidified her as one of the top antagonists in my book was at one point in time, Uta finds out from Gordon that Shanks did not wipe out Elegia 12 years ago, but it was Top Musica through Uta herself. She still, at that point in time, refused to take Luffy's hand. She already knew that she was the root cause of the destruction of Elegia, the musical version of Hogwarts, like unironically, even though she knew she was the root cause, because she had such a tremendous weight of responsibility on her shoulders because of the millions of fans that she had amassed across the world because of her streaming career, right? She felt like there was a point of no return and she had to do something no matter what to reach her quote dream of entering a new age and alleviating the suffering that so many folks had at the hands of the world government, Tenbito, and of course, pirates. So I really liked Uta as an antagonist without a doubt. That's the first thing. Second thing is that the lore bits. Yo, okay. I can't go too deep into this video because again, video can't be that long, right? So in the future, I have at this point in time 2 future videos slated for this movie.
Oh yeah.
First of all, Figureland. What? Uta being Shanks' daughter might have meant that she had the Figureland blood in her. And so based on the Gorosei's words, it implies that Shanks would have some ties to this sort of Figureland family. So we know that Shanks was actually born a year before the God Valley incident, and it's about a year later from his own birth that Goldie, Roger, and Rayleigh actually find Shanks. The same way Shanks finds Uta is the same way Goldie, Roger finds Shanks. So arguably, through this movie, the events of God Valley, that veil, has a little hole in it now, and that hole is Figureland. Because we don't know what that is, but that probably involves God Valley in some way. And actually might be the reason why the Gorosei have no qualms meeting Shanks in secret despite his Yonko status. Like, lore. That's one thing. There's way more. But number 2, and I'll keep it brief. Toto, as they say in the Japanese, Tot Musica. Tot Musica the big sort of CG like raid boss at the end of the movie, I think holds importance. And not just for the movie itself, but for the series as a whole. Count Musica is a demon king of the ancient times, created by the emotions of people, and it has ties to the user of the Sing Sing fruit. And through that ability and its namesake song, Count Musica is able to manifest into the world itself. So again, I don't want to show my whole hand right now. More videos in the future for damn sure. The idea of emotions, of people creating a demon, like the emotions in some way actually manifesting this very entity in combination with Deathroot abilities, which FYI, is actually a very similar concept that we see in the Idanten deities Only No Peace series. And this demon king existing for like literal centuries upon centuries, millennia even maybe. This, I think, is a very powerful concept because it adds a new spectrum of, let's say, potentiality to things like Deathroot Awakenings and /or hockey. And the reason why, ultimately, it's so intriguing is that there is another person that we all know, Roronoa Zoro, who can also, somehow, some way, manifest Demon King / demon god stuff seemingly at will. Think. So, the lore can go very deep, but I just can't get to it all in this video. I'm sorry, I can't. It is what it is. I must press on. The third thing for this movie that I thought was amazing were the character moments and character components. They were extremely strong across the board. Again, Uta is, I think, a great character in the movie. She is slowly losing the capability of controlling her own emotions while eating these wake shrooms, carrying the crushing weight of millions of her fans' hopes and wishes, and trying to strive for her dream while ushering in a new age of peace and prosperity, but in a way that she knows is fundamentally wrong instinctively, as Luffy explains to her that what she's doing isn't freedom, and she cries Luffy's name before she gets swallowed up by Top Musica. She's trapping people in a dream world very similar to how she was somewhat trapped on Elegia, but somewhat justifiable because this is what her fans to some degree did want, and they viewed her as somewhat of a savior from their issues, from their ailments that they've been suffering in the real world. And she was desperately trying to live up to that idea of being the savior of all of these people. By the same time, herself knowing that she was the root cause of what happened at Elegia, and she is desperately in conflict with that. The way the movie ends, it seems like she's dead, but then Oda clarifies that it's actually not clear if she is dead or not. So ultimately speaking, her character through and through, I thought was really well written, and she's a damn good antagonist, for damn sure. Of course, also, for more character stuff in this movie, Usopp and Yasopp? Whoa! Hey, yo, who would have thought that Usopp and Yasopp would have been like that? That was impressive. That father-son combo link with the observation hockey, doing like the same thing Momo did with Zunisha, and then Katakuri doing the same thing with Brule. So showing you how even among the Big Mom family, their bond as brother and sister is much, much stronger than like the rest of the family. And of course it's wholesome. It's not some Alabama energy. No, this is not some Yor and Yuri Spy X Family like ciscon. No, this is wholesome content between Katakuri and Brule. So good, the character stuff. And lastly, of course, the character Luffy. Wow, Luffy the entire time did not attack Uta. It's kind of like, I'd argue, one of those deeper things that Luffy has at times. Like, for example, in Alabasta, when Luffy refused to try and save the revolutionaries and Vivi was pleading and begging and so on. He's like, no, I'm here to just fight Crocodile. He even punched Vivi, like, no, this is not happening. I am here to just simply fight Crocodile. That's it. Ultimately, it's called Film Red for a reason. What does Luffy say in the movie at some point? Luffy says to Uta that Shanks is going to come to stop you. There's no way that he will let his daughter do this. So the onus of stop this whole thing, it's not Luffy, it's literally Uta and Shanks. Luffy kind of knew that in some sense, he was not the primary person to end this whole situation despite his friendship with his childhood friend Uta. So that's, again, I think kind of stuff very, very damn good. Fourth thing is, of course, the fights. Oh, there were a lot of mock brawls here or there, but the last fight, the last 20 minutes was like quite literally phenomenal. And it really did harken back to the old school Oars Luffy versus the Straw Hats, a well-orchestrated group battle against a major, massive entity. But in this case, the scale was just so much bigger. What we get in the colored cover for chapter 1065 is essentially the combos that we get in the movie. And those were some nasty combos across the board. Some very good stuff. Of course, you know my favorite combo. Oh my God. Oven and Sanji. Sanji going blue. And then in the real world, at the same time, Katakuri Sanji split. Ah! Now see, that can be sussy. That can be sussy, and I got no problems with that. Yo. Nah. That woo, that got me hyped. That got me elevated. But even more than that, Gear 5 in motion. What? Luffy goes into Gear 5. Theater. What? What? Oh my God. Whoa, no way, it's Gear 5. Yeah. Gear 5. When I first saw it, oh my God. If my brother wasn't there to contain me, I would have done laps. I promise you, I would have done laps. I was about to do laps in the theater. Just a big black man bouncing around the theater. Here comes security. Contain him. Yes. Dude, I was on the precipice of going insane. But at the end of it all, the reason why this is the best movie in One Piece history is one name and one name alone. Shanks. You just can't beat him. You can't do it. Like, it's very similar to, let's say, the Mugen Train stuff for Demon Slayer. The Mugen Train movie, part is why it was so damn popular is because it's essentially the next arc, and that next arc material is shown as a film. And at the time, it was unclear if they were actually going to do an anime version of that movie for an actual weekly show. So folks pulled up to the movie en masse. We get details from Shanks in this movie that are not prevalent in the manga just yet. Figureland stuff, the stuff involving Shanks when he was born and Roger and Rayleigh find him, where Shanks' own mindset, where he talks about how like the world isn't fair, in the flashback with Uta. These are outstanding things for Shanks and his crew. Lime Juice, Hongo, Gao, Bone Punch, Monster, Lucky Roo, Yasop. Oh my God, Yasop. What? Dude, there are so many pivotal things that only exist in this movie for the time being about Shanks and his crew that do not exist in the manga. And that in of itself is enough of an attraction to pull you in to this movie. And the results, phenomenal. This movie, I think, is the best One Piece film, without a doubt. There are some problems you can argue here or there, like for example, too many musical numbers. At sometimes the fights are haphazard, but to be fair, the group fights are on a much bigger scale than any other previous movie, like even Stampede. And number two, musical numbers. I mean, again, you like Lion King. I know you do. I guess it depends on were the songs slapping or not slapping. And me, for the most part, outside like one, they were slapping. So the video is probably longer than I wanted to be. As per usual, I am long-winded, but I am not done with this movie. Not by a long shot. Because I am going to watch this movie at least 2 more times. But in the meantime, this gets a rating of a 10 out of 10. No bias.